Good morning. Hello, Mohammed. Nice to see you right away. I'm Christine Dunbar with SpeechModification.com, and this is my Smart American Accent training. And you're here for our Friday live class. We have these every week on Friday, and we'll cover a different topic each week, take your questions, give you some quick tips for pronunciation and intonation in the American accent. So welcome, I'm happy to see you. Please feel free to ask questions and make comments during the live broadcast and afterwards in the comments, and I will get back to you with the answers to your questions. If you'd like to be notified about all of our live classes, please subscribe to the channel and put the notifications in, then you'll receive an email every time that we're live. And speaking of which, I want to let you know that we're going to be doing an in-depth class tomorrow, a live class about American English vowel sounds. And it'll have a slightly different format than our Friday live classes. We'll be looking at a specific topic and taking your questions at specific times. Also, you can ask your questions ahead of time, so you can make comments on this video or on any of my videos, and I'll make sure to address your questions and answer them in that live broadcast about American English vowels. So I hope you'll join me again tomorrow. Today's topic is we're going to be talking about how Americans really talk in fluent speech. So you may have seen some recent videos in my Real Talk series talking about how Americans connect words and reduce sounds when they're speaking. So today we're going to take an in-depth look at linking and reduced sounds and how you can use them in your speech to sound more American and to understand what Americans are saying and how they change English to make the ease of speech for fluency. So I'm looking forward to talking about that this morning. I also want to let you know that you can find many answers to your questions in my videos and playlists, so please go to my channel and search for what you're looking for, and the videos that have the answers will come up for you. You can also find them on my website, speechmodification.com. I have a lot of free practice materials, videos, audio files, and explanations that go a little bit more in-depth sometimes than my videos, so you can find those questions there. Also my free online courses, so feel free to hop on over to speechmodification.com. So today, as we're talking about linking and reduced sounds, I'll be highlighting some elements of my Real Talk playlist and giving you a quick tip that you can use right away. So let's talk about linking and reduced sounds. If you ask an American, hello, Eduardo, nice to see you. You're here from Brazil, that's exciting. If you talk to an American about linking and reduced sounds, they probably won't really know what you're talking about. That's just something that they naturally do in speech, and it's a result of when we say words in different contexts, we need to connect them for ease of speech. So sometimes if I say a word by itself, I'll be pronouncing all of the sounds in that word. But when I'm using it in a sentence, it needs to flow with the rest of the sentence. So in order to easily move from sound to sound, nice to see you. Good morning from Iran. To connect from sound to sound, excuse me, we need to do what's called linking. And also in many contexts, we do what's called reduced sounds. So sounds will drop off or change. Let's talk a little bit about what that specifically means. So you may have seen some examples of it in my Real Talk videos, and I'm going to give you some examples today and walk you through exactly what's happening when Americans change their speech. We use slightly different speech, excuse me, depending on our context. So in a professional setting, there's certain things that I might do differently than if I were talking casually with my friends. But in my Real Talk videos, I'm always pointing out the correct way to speak, even if you're speaking professionally. And then sometimes if there's an even more casual version that you'll hear Americans do, I'll let you know what that is. But I'll always sort of make my recommendations based on speech you can use in any context, sound professional, sound American, and really be well understood. So for an example, I recently made a video about the phrase, "What are you going to do?" So in this phrase, if I say it like that, "What are you going to do?" you can obviously hear that that's not how an American would say it. I'm separating each word. It sounds very choppy. There's no flow. Americans are really going to say more of something like, "What are you going to do?" What are you going to do? So what's happening there? First of all, we'll start from the end. Rather than going to do, I'm saying going to do, going to do. So those three words link together, and that T becomes more of a D sound. So you can say going to do, or going to do. In my case, mostly I use a D. But I'm linking and I'm reducing and stopping that T sound. And then the vowel oo becomes more of an So instead of going to do, it's more going to do or going to do. So that's an example of a reduction. A pure vowel like oo becomes a vowel schwa, da do. And that's professional. If I would say going to do, even if I'm talking in an interview or in a very professional setting. One more level on that, I might say gonna do. What are you gonna do? In that case, that's very casual. I'm not going to say that in a professional setting, but among my friends, I might say, what are you gonna do? So going to becomes gonna. And that's just a further reduction, that's casual. And then for the first part of that sentence, what are you becomes more like, what are you? What are you? What are you going to do? And so what and are linked, and that T again becomes more of a D sound. It's between two vowels, and when a T is in the middle, it sounds more like a D. This happens in words too, like water or butter. We don't say water and butter, we say water, butter. Same thing with water. What are you going to do? And you might notice that vowel changes in R. So the linking makes that vowel reduce. So rather than water, what are, I tend to say an sound. I leave the ah out of the R diphthong. So you can just try practicing it like it's a word in itself. Water. And then there's one more thing that happens from what are you to what are ya. And that's that you gets reduced to ya. Again, same as the two. The vowel oo becomes a vowel schwa. You becomes ya. What are ya? Sometimes I might say, what are you going to do? Or what are ya going to do? Both are acceptable, professional. And then there's one other thing that we might do with this, and this is really casual that I might say among friends, and I'm using it intentionally to be casual, and that would be saying whatcha instead of what are you. So the sounds change. It becomes a whatcha. The R drops out entirely. And this is something that I wouldn't use professionally. I'm not going to go talk to my boss or in an interview and say whatcha. I'm going to say what are you. So that's just one example. I wanted to walk you through a little bit about what happens with linking and what happens with reduced sounds. I would suggest, if this is a new concept to you, that you go to my website, and I'll include a link after the broadcast, and read about what happens with linking in general. Because it's something that you may actually yourself already be doing some of the time. It just happens naturally when we're connecting words. But if you understand what the rules are and what's happening, it's going to help you hear and use those linked phrases more easily. Same with reductions. You might find that you can hear that what you're saying is something different than what Americans are saying, and you might be trying to reduce, but you want to be careful to make sure that you're pronouncing all of the correct sounds and reducing the correct sounds. Just leaving sounds out or leaving sounds off will be different than American speech and hard for people to understand. So, okay, any questions so far about linking or reduced sounds? Okay, we're gonna move on, and I'd like to give you a quick tip about how to start doing this in your speech. So first of all, you can watch videos and practice on specific phrases, and that's a really great idea. And what I'm going to suggest is that you choose one or two simple phrases and that you practice saying them repeatedly so that it feels natural to you to make those connections, to make those links. So for example, you might focus on the phrase, what are you? And try to change it to, what are you? What are you? And a way to do this is, first of all, just practice what are you by itself, and then start to build some simple phrases with that phrase. So, for example, you might say, what are you doing? What are you thinking? What are you talking about? What are you wearing? And you can come up with another verb that goes with what are you. and repeat that. And the more you repeat that, the more naturally it will come out when you're talking in regular speech. And also, your brain has to think about, okay, what else can I put with what are ya? And so it doesn't have as much time to think about that phrase. So it becomes more automatic, more of a habit, which is what you need to be able to do it in running speech. Another good example that I often suggest for starting with this practice is the phrase going to the. And what I would say in that is going to the. So the T becomes a D, the vowel U becomes reduced to schwa. And so you can practice, again, repeated phrases. Going to the store, going to the meeting, going to the party, going to the train station. And what you'll find is if you use this reduced and linked phrase in your speech, that will sound very American to you. It may feel a little bit unnatural because you're used to, as someone who works on their pronunciation and on their accent, you're used to trying to get precision and correctness in your speech. And this is correct, it's just how we use it in these contexts. So I hope that helps you, that quick tip for linking and reduced sounds. And again, you can find more about that in my Real Talk playlist and also in my linking and reduced sounds playlist. You'll see specific examples of both linking and reduced sounds. As you're watching the video later on, please feel free to ask your questions and make comments. I will get back to you with answers to the questions, and I get my best ideas for what topics to talk about and what videos to present and live classes to present to you from your comments and questions. So thank you for those. I hope to see you tomorrow morning here on the West Coast time to talk about vowels. And again, just a reminder, go ahead and leave questions about vowels. It may be what vowel is in this word, or I have difficulty with these two words that are similar. Can you help me with that? And I'll make sure to address that in class. Go to my website to get free trials of my online classes and special deals on my online class subscriptions. You can also get a screening of your speech where if you leave me a recording, I will listen to it and give you feedback on your accent and accent patterns that you might want to focus on when you're working with my videos. Also, contact me if you'd like a free consultation about working one-on-one on your speech. So thank you for being here today. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and I hope to see you tomorrow for our American English Vowels live class. I'm Christine Dunbar with SpeechModification.com. And remember, if you want to sound American, you can do it. SpeechModification.com.